Property Office, that is USP. And my title is Examiner Patents, which is quite self-explanatory. I examine patents. But before I delve into that, I'll just give you a background of what URSP does and what we are mandated to do under the laws of Uganda. So we carry out lawful registrations, as we like to call them, which include registration of companies and businesses, civil registration, that is marriages and all that, intellectual property registration, that's basically the reason why we are here. And we also do liquidation of companies, which, as people usually put brief in one statement, like people, companies are born, and also like people, companies die. So those in, and when you add on also this other thing we call collection of non-tax revenue, basically summarizes our mandate. Now, intellectual property, which I want to assume we all know, but I'll still just throw out there, refers to the creations of the human mind. From when we are born, I want to assume that we are always thinking. And I think we think more in our first 6 years of existence. But that's my assumption. I've done no research to prove that. And someone will do the research maybe someday. So as we think, we solve problems, we create things, we come up with songs, we come up with publications. All these are creations that come out of our minds. I use the example of we had to believe that we started as early men in caves. From when early man was in this small cave there, putting on skins to as distracted briefly. From that time to now, there's been a lot of changes. From when there was basic dressing to now the clothes we have that are so sophisticated. And for example, if we are to believe the Bible's version of how men came into existence, from Adam and Eve walking around naked in the Garden of Eden, to them needing to put leaves around themselves, to someone saying, let's use skins to make this look better. All these have been creations and improvements. So intellectual property exists to reward the creations of our minds. And the most obvious creations that we all own are the ones that are literary. If you have a book and a pen right now, by writing something down, you have created. And what you get for that is what we call copyright. So copyright protects your expression in literary or artistic form. Then for those of you that have solved problems, your research was maybe to reduce the loss of food that is created. Whatever system, method, device that was would have been patentable. Or let's say if you're from the College of, the School of Arts and Music, I'm not sure if that's its actual name. The music, the plays, all that are copyrightable. So all those creations of the human mind exist. It's like owning a space in the creative era, in the creative subspace. You own a small place. So the intellectual property system exists to give you rights over what you've created, as an incentive to encourage people to create. So if, let's say, you woke up and you wrote a song, let me use the example of the national anthem. You would own a small creative space there. And so the government gives you a certificate of title for copyright, which is equivalent to a land title for land, because it shows that you own this creative subspace. So in Uganda, we probably had statements all over the place like, there are no laws to protect creators, or we keep hearing people saying there's no copyright law. I will debunk that theory by saying there is a copyright law. You'll hear in Uganda we don't protect patents. I'll debunk that again by saying in Uganda we do protect patents. My job is actually based fully on that. As I introduced myself, I'm a patent examiner. But that's not the only thing we do at URSP. We also have what we call the Technology and Innovation Support Centers, which is a global project supported by the World Intellectual Property Office with the aim of improving the quality of research. The catchline statement we usually use is, we aim to avoid reinventing the wheel. The people at the back couldn't hear me. So let me repeat that.
They should come near.
Oh yeah, they will come near, but it's okay. We don't want you to reinvent the wheel, because the wheel was already invented. We want you to invent something that doesn't require the wheel. So to avoid that, we need to improve the quality of research. So how do we do that using the TISC project? We give them access to all the information that is available, be it journals, be it patent documents, be it publications out there. The aim of the TISC project is to tell you that, so you're working on tomatoes, what has been done in tomatoes. So if you are thinking you wanted to cure tomato blight, that's a disease. If someone did it already, maybe you can come up with a new cure for that. And in that way, you have created something new. And for that, you get protection under the intellectual property system. This is stated, it's a fact, but without so much background behind it. The information contained in patent documents is very rarely published elsewhere. So it's 80% of that information doesn't make it to other publications. People usually stop at protecting it there, and they don't publish it out there. So you'll find that if we focus our research on journals only, on publications only, we could end up reinventing the wheel. So through the TISC project, we offer you access, free access, to all these patent databases. Some of them specialized to refine the information so that it is presented in a very specific format for the researcher. I give an example of when I was here about 6 years back doing my BSc in electrical engineering, and the in thing was the MESAU-MEPI project. And so much was said about it, but the newest aspects of it were ignored because we were looking at the big word, electric car. But in all this, what Makerere had done, or what the MESAU-MEPI project had created, was the appearance and maybe the 8-size seat that's supposed to make it easier for pregnant women to utilize the car, which they actually filed an application for with our office, and I believe they were granted. So when we look at the big picture, we forget that we have these small new things that we've added. In 1970, this famous thing that we all use in our cars, if we have cars, called the seat belt. Someone improved it and came up with a 3-point seat belt. And just that on its own would have had more value in a car than probably the whole car. By selling the idea of the 3-point seat belt, someone could have gotten millions. Or I'll use an example from the 1960s, when Ford Motor Company had to pay a gentleman $10 million per year for 20 years because he came up with an alternating windscreen wiper. Just that on its own, not even the whole concept of the car. So inventions and innovations go down to the most basic of things. It doesn't have to be the bigger picture, it could be the small thing. So at URSB, to try and improve the position of Uganda in terms of what we create and what we protect, we decided to offer drafting services to people who have come up with these things. Because you can have a patent, but to get a patent, you won't walk in and explain to me that this is what I've come up with. You have to disclose the information in a way the law requires it. So we offer services to help people who have come up with these things. You come in, you sit there, and we draft the application together until it's in a format that's even internationally acceptable. And to improve our service delivery, we also decided to do as much as possible to help Ugandans be able to file applications beyond our borders. And as such, we are members of the African Regional Intellectual Property Office, where we, among other 19 member states, you're able to file one application that has effect in all those countries. And still on the same plate, we are members of the World Intellectual Property Organization, where you're able to file one application that has effect in 190 countries, all UN member states across the globe. So all this can be done at our offices. But the catch thing here is information is power. And very often people don't have the information. People don't know that we offer these services. And even worse, people don't know that these things exist. I, on occasion, have gone down to Katwe to try and sensitize the artisans down there. And I often hear this statement: I like it when my work is copied. So we derive pride from our work being copied. It takes me back to when I was in school and we'd be sitting our exams. If everyone wanted to sit next to you and copy you, you feel so proud. Not at the university, that was in secondary school. So there's that aspect. People don't see the value in protecting their works. Or we could tell ourselves that because we're a public institution and we do research, public research, it should be disseminated. I'll give you the example of NARO, the National Agricultural Research Organization. They do research, come up with all these new plant varieties, potato varieties, etc. And for a long time it wasn't protected. But they came up with an intellectual property policy, not so different from yours. They're a bit more detailed, in which they defined all of that. You see, research is a public good. It's supposed to be a public good, right? Because it's improving the knowledge. But in exchange for that, yes, you can publish the research, but in that research you've done, there are those technologies that can be protected as patents. So in our discussions with them and in helping them prepare their intellectual property policy, we were able to show them the value of first isolating the technologies in the research, filing for patent applications, and then publishing. Because the intellectual property system allows you to protect in more than one way. There's nothing to stop you from getting a patent and then still publishing and getting the copyright over your publication. So I can actually say at the moment, NARO is the biggest filer of patent applications amongst local companies and individuals in Uganda. Every year, we're sure they bring at least 4 or 5. Makerere, on the other hand, which I'm sure generates 10 times the amount of knowledge, because I actually studied here and I actually know this. Most times, our work sits through somewhere. We just see in the newspaper, come up with a new fuel, works here and there, but we never see the applications. I'll give you a comparison with Massachusetts University, MIT, Massachusetts Institute of Technology, which in 1 year files thousands and thousands of patent applications. Those are even more than the ones which Uganda as a country files. Or I'll give you an example of a university that has the exact same 3-letter code as Uganda, University of Georgia, which files an extremely high amount of patent applications. It's not to say that we don't create these things, it's just to say that we don't protect them. So the IPMC, I believe, was put in for Makerere to be able to pick out those things and protect. But we don't stop at protection. Protection is just an avenue, commercialization, and for it to have profit. There is nothing to stop the IP created from generating more income for the university and even tuition. I'm very sure MIT is very well funded because of some of the patents that have come out of there. So we at URSB still support, as usual, as Professor Amala can attest. Even if you called me at 6, I'll pick up the call to say, how can I help? Because we want, especially those of us that are alumni, I want one of these days when I'm in an international forum somewhere in Geneva, for someone to say, Makerere University has this number of 1,000 applications. Do you know anyone that studied from there? I'll be like, yes, I did. It opens a gateway for me. They'll be like, oh yes, we need to employ someone from there. And in a heartbeat, I'll go from earning in UGX to earning in dollars. So this all exists to encourage, and the steps we are making at the moment are quite positive. I think in Makerere we so far have one TISC center at the library, and because of the size of the university, there's nothing to stop us from having a TISC in every college. Because this information is free of charge. At this is provided free. The databases which people would have paid thousands of dollars to access, through this project can apply and get them free of charge. And I'm always in my office waiting for someone to come in and say, help me draft this application. Of recent, I've been flooded with a number of emails on that, but the more the better, because it makes me look good also. And maybe it puts me in line for a bonus somewhere. But still, the aim is for us to have hundreds and thousands. Because I think the Vision 2040 wants us to have 3,000 applications per year. That's still very low compared to China, which reaches 1 million applications per year. Yet I'm pretty sure Makerere on its own can come up with 3,000 in a year. So, questions before I have to dash?
Ladies and gentlemen, we chose off to begin off with having Abraham share with us experience from URSB, because unfortunately he cannot stay with us. So that's why we chose off to, but at least get a feel from him before he leaves and get to listen to him. So if you have any questions, please feel free to actually ask. You're welcome.
Hello. Hi.
If you have any questions, please feel free to...
I thought that the meeting was at 10.
Yeah, it's at 10. It's okay, it's fine. Yes, if you have any questions for... Yes, please.
Yes, thank you very much for the presentation. You are welcome back to your alma mater. Now you talked about this DISC project. Is the information available online?
Yes, it is.
Yeah, concerning this project. And you also mentioned narrow IPM policy. Is that also available either with you or on their website?
I believe they do have it on their website, but we do have copies of it at office also.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
Thank you very much.
I need to add in that we offer the service of helping you. If you need to revise your IP policy, URSB will be on hand to help you revise your policy, as we have done with Makerere University and a few other universities that are in the pipeline for that. In terms of universities, I'll put it out this way. Makerere only recently started trying to provide the applications. Only recently. I think it started with a graduation gown that was protected as an industrial design. And a few others are coming out, though from individuals. So I don't know what the policy says exactly about that, but those would be clear and defined in the policy. Very clear about who pays for what, who does this, how do you share it. There are a few items which are a bit missing in the current policy. This policy is 11 years old, and IP has evolved. It's a constantly evolving thing, so it doesn't hurt to revise it. Makerere University, on average, files, I could say about 3 to 4 applications. Most of them coming out of their annual hackathon. So, an IP policy will go a long way towards guiding how you protect the IP coming out of the university. And especially if it's aligned with your research policy. Because I'm very sure Makerere has a research policy, which is probably up to date. Yes.
Thank you very much for your remarks. Now, one thing you say Naro has a lot of applications there, and I know Naro mainly deals with new varieties of crops. Yes. And when it comes to crop varieties, they are dealing with plant breeders, right? Yes. Now you are saying you are mainly dealing with patents. I don't know, how do you look at this plant breeders' rights, patents, and...
Plant breeders' rights are an IP right. Can be defined under the Plant Varieties Act or the international conventions which are under IP. However, that's not the only thing they come up with. You could find in all that they come up with a pesticidal composition, which is protected under the patent law, not under the plant varieties or plant breeders' rights. Or very often, what they usually protect through the IP are those other things they come up with. A method for preserving, a method for drying, a method for removing wheels, something of the sort. So you could find in this research you're doing about agriculture, there could be one thing that falls under plant varieties, another thing that falls under the patent scope, then another thing that falls under, let's say, trademarks. Because at the end of the day, you have to get this product into the market. So IP allows you to protect different aspects that you created in different ways. So it's a supporting system. You can have a trademark on one end, you can have a patent on one end. You can have plant variety on another end, then you could have maybe an industrial design somewhere else, all for one product, or all for one bit of research that is developing something.
Sorry, there is this new piece of legislation, I don't know whether it was assented to, the Genetic Engineering Regulatory Act. How does the URSP relate to this?
Actually, so that, and it had no mention of intellectual property.
Oh, it doesn't?
The value which I saw.
Okay.
Yeah, it had no mention of IP.
It doesn't.
But we are making a few comments on that. But also there is this other which I hadn't mentioned in my wider scope, which actually applies so much to what we did in Uganda, the Geographical Indications Act, that relates to the quality or the properties that our products have based on them coming from Uganda or from a specific region. We say Kabale potatoes, the Irish from Kabale are specific, or the sweet potatoes from Makerere, or someone would say tomatoes from Ndambuli, or onions. So there are qualities that certain products will have because of the location that they come from. I'll use an example that we are more familiar with, champagne. Champagne is basically sparkling wine. But what sparkling wine from a specific region of France called the Champagne region. So anyone that makes sparkling wine and labels it champagne, but is not from the Champagne region, is actually breaking the law. So you have to be from that region to call your sparkling wine champagne because of the characteristics that it will have based on the soils of the Champagne region. So there are so many different laws to protect so many different aspects of what you create. It's just about knowing through your IP policy and through your IPMC what you need to apply to a specific creation.
Okay, we have one more question. Our time is fast spent.
From your experience that you are engaging in, what are the specific gaps you think we should focus on?
Critical. I think you need to build capacity. Capacity in the sense that our office has only 3 people working in patent suite, of which only 2 of us are significantly trained in drafting patent applications. This is something that is usually offered free of charge by our office and by other people that have interest in that. For example, I'm sure the Ministry of Science and Technology, represented by Patrick, very often help applicants draft their applications. But beyond that, there is no capacity elsewhere, or very little capacity elsewhere. You find a university like Makerere may not have that experience even in their TTO or in their technology offices. They may not have someone with the capacity to draft an application. Yet for a population of 40-something million, if we have at most 10 people in the country that can handle that, then we seriously have a backlog. That's number 1 on the capacity. Number 2, on the rewards. From what I know, most universities reward publications more than they do a patent application or a utility model application or any other IP right. Or as the statement goes, publish or perish. That's something that we need to put somewhere on the side and know that publications are not the only form of IP and should not be a limit to, if we can use a patent right as to score some points to get promotion, to really help in motivating people. Number 3, probably we need to include this in our curriculum, especially at the university level. I met IP in second year in technology ethics, and until I was doing my final year project, when I had to do so much research and I fell on this thing called patents, I didn't really have so much of a clue of what IP is. What's to stop us from making IP1 in first year, IP2 in second year? Because when we get to the market, we interface with these things without understanding them. And on top of that, the same way an engineer will always need money. Anyone creating anything, basically everyone in this university, we need to understand IP, especially if we want to push the job creation as opposed to job seeking. Number 4, I'll say too much, let me just stop on those things. You had
Yes, one more. Yes, one more.
Okay, I just want to say one of the problems we have, why IP is a problem, because we as Ugandans, we like infringing on IP. We think it is natural. Like here, we all read copyright, but you see someone comes in the library, copies the whole book with the students completely and solves and whatnot. So I think it's a major problem. That one, unless we have to discipline ourselves to respect IP, then it is all meaningless.
Yeah, that's actually a good one, because the university is liable for that, but I'll explain that after I say this because it might be similar.
From your clarification, when you hinted on IP job,
Yes.
and then you talked about a tomato from Muramuni and a tomato from something pattern, for example. I was just wondering whether this is something we would want to progress with us. Put a concept here for support. Support, because if you're talking about loss, IP, somebody was patenting Matoki, that there was Matoki. So if you can patent Matoki from that, somebody has a legal claim over this. I just was thinking, so is there a way the URSP can work with leading agencies to fast track the issue of reclaiming and protecting, because virtually almost everything is detected in somebody's I saw it's Swedish.
Nice to meet you, Patrick Henderson. Very nice.
I'll start as the issue of copyright.
Oh, very good. Welcome. Thank you.
Okay, well, we'll just be concluding this session in just a while, and then we begin off officially. Okay, let's conclude.
5 minutes.
Only 5 minutes to conclude this session, and then we begin officially. Okay, yes, please.
5 minutes, let me summarize this one. We do have partnerships and cooperation with several businesses. Finally, and even beyond. On issues of our knowledge that has been taken beyond, there are a couple of conventions that allow us to challenge. So, for example, I'll give you what India did with turmeric. Someone in the US tried to patent turmeric as a cold treatment. But later on, the Indians were able to prove, using records they had before, that this was something generally known in India. And as a result, the patent was invalid. So that's what they call traditional knowledge and traditional cultural expression. If they are recorded, you're able to invalidate them. So on the issue of the infringement, yes, it happens a lot, but we do have an intellectual property enforcement unit to counter that. And now I am being called for my long distance.
Please allow me.